do you identify yourself as?
She, her. Non-binary, they, them. She, they.
So what is the best thing about your identity?
My fashion style. Honestly, just the fact that I scare a lot of people is really fun to me. So.
How about you?
Dating women and like non-binary people.
A mí lo que más me llama la atención de este video es ¿qué es lo que se ha esparcido en la cara? ¿Qué crees que sea?
Menos exámenes, más fáciles y asignaturas, digamos, blanditas, soft, light, woke. Por ejemplo, matemáticas socioemocionales con perspectiva de género. Sí, se ríen, pero luego hay que ir a estudiar esto, ¿no? 2 más 2 son 4. Y con esto vamos a competir con los chinos, con los coreanos y con cualquiera, ¿no? Flotamos en la era de la mediocridad. No es que el mérito se desprecie, es que se combate con la hazaña del cruzado. Y eso es nuevo. Nunca se había politizado la ignorancia como ahora. Nunca se había hecho de la mediocridad y hasta del muera la inteligencia una consigna moral. Esto no es tanto una guerra cultural como una guerra contra la cultura. Lo que algunos están promoviendo es un auténtico apocalipsis cognitivo. Creen que cuanto más ignorante sea la gente, más les va a votar a ellos. Y probablemente tengan razón, claro, pero ¿a qué precio? La ignorancia es el combustible del populismo. Y el populismo es incompatible con el progreso. Nada sirve más a un joven que el estudio, el esfuerzo, el conocimiento y los libros. Y nada paraliza más que el victimismo y la ficción de los derechos infinitos. El populismo es pan para hoy y hambre para mañana. A los jóvenes hay que dirigirse como adultos, es decir, respetando su inteligencia, diciéndoles la verdad. Y la primera verdad, la más difícil pero conmovedora de las verdades, es que su destino está en sus manos, no en las de ningún político, ni de derechas ni de izquierdas, tampoco en las del Estado, en las suyas. Solo hay una cosa más perjudicial para el pleno desarrollo de un joven que el papá Estado. El Estado mami. O peor todavía, el Estado mimo. El Estado de los mimos y cuidados integrales que prometen los populistas como si el dinero público cayera del cielo. Spoiler, no cae. El Estado no es un manantial de recursos infinitos ni debe serlo. No se acaba con la desigualdad igualando a todos por lo bajo y no se lucha contra la pobreza destruyendo la riqueza. Al revés, exactamente al revés.
Vaya, lo que faltaba, cursos progre. La física no binaria solo tiene fuerzas inclusivas.
If Jesus were here today, he would be a clinic escort, distracting women from the hatred of the protesters. Or an doula, holding women's hands and offering support and love as they end their pregnancies.
¿Crees que lo que dice esta pastora ocurriría? No sé, yo me imagino algo así.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about offence, isn't it? When people say they're offended, it's that, just because you're offended, it doesn't mean you're right, you know? It's... offence is about feelings, and feelings are personal. Some people are offended by equality. So what? You know, so you can't second-guess people. If you try and please everyone, you'll please no one. With comedy as well, I think you've got to deal with taboos and contentious issues, and sometimes you deal in irony, and some people don't get that. But, you know, you can't legislate against stupidity, otherwise you'll be doing nothing, you know, because I'm not doing it for the 200 egos in the room. I'm doing it for the 200 million people watching around who aren't winning awards, who aren't millionaires. And freedom of speech is so important these days. I've reached the age now where I don't care anymore. It's a sin. To joke about all the bad things, that's a waste. Because that's exactly what we should joke about.
La verdadera libertad de expresión incluye el derecho de hacer chistes incluso si son incómodos. Quienes se ofenden por un chiste pueden expresarlo, pero no censurar.
Buongiorno, this is my manicotti, and later this year a surgeon will turn it into a tortellini. How, you ask? Let me show you. Now, if I still had my meatballs, which I don't because I got them removed last summer, this would be the first thing the surgeon would remove. So, let's go ahead and do that. Ugh. With the meatballs gone, his next move will be to split the manicotti straight down the middle. I wasn't trained for this. Ooh, we did it. We will then open the manicotti and lay it down flat. Inside the manicotti, there's all kinds of filling, which the surgeon will remove. Ugh. Once it's cleaned out, the only thing left will be a small tube of spaghetti that carries all of the manicotti's various sauces. We'll come back to this tube later, but for now, we will shorten it. Next, the surgeon will use the outer shell of the manicotti to create the inner lining of the tortellini. But before the surgeon can create the tortellini, he must first make room for the tortellini. Hey, this might fit. Hey, look at that, we did it. Now we just make sure that our pasta transportation tube is set in the right position inside. And just like that, we have created a brand new tortellini. One final and important note. I know this doesn't look like an appetizing tortellini, but after it's healed, it will. The aesthetics of the surgery have come so far in the past few decades, and the results are truly mind-blowing.
No sé si a ustedes, pero a mí como que ya no me dan ganas de probar comida italiana y pensar que ahora quieren que este tipo de cosas parezcan normales.
What hate speech are you talking about? I mean, you use Twitter.
Right.
Do you see a rise in hate speech?
I mean,
But just a personal anecdote, like what do you do? I don't.
personally, for you, I would see I get more of that kind of content, yeah, personally. But I'm not going to talk to the rest of, for the rest of Twitter.
So you see more hate speech personally?
I would say I would see more hateful content in that.
Content you don't like or hateful? What do you mean to describe a hateful thing?
Yeah, I mean, you know, just content that will solicit a reaction, something that may include something that is slightly racist or slightly sexist, those kinds of things.
So you think if something is slightly sexist, it should be banned?
No,
is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying anything. I'm saying.
Well, I'm just curious. I'm trying to understand what you mean by hateful content. And I'm asking for specific examples. And you just said that if something is slightly sexist, that's hateful content. Does that mean that it should be banned?
Well, you've asked me whether my feed, whether it's got less or more. I'd say it's got slightly more.
That's why I'm asking for examples. Can you name one example?
I honestly don't need. Honestly, I don't.
You can't name a single example.
I'll tell you why. Because I don't actually use that For You feed anymore. Because I just don't particularly like it.
But you
said
actually,
a lot of people are quite similar. I only look
hang on a
at
second.
my
You said you've seen more hateful content, but you can't name a single example, not even one.
I'm not sure I've used that feed for the last 3 or 4 weeks. And
then how did you see the hateful content?
Because I've been using Twitter since you've taken it over for the last 6 months.
Okay, so then you must have at some point seen the For You hateful content. And I'm asking for one example.
Right.
And you can't give a single one.
And I'm saying
then I say, sir, that you don't know what you're talking about.
Really?
Yes, because you can't give me a single example of hateful content, not even one tweet. And yet you claimed that the hateful content was high.
Well,
that's false.
No, what I claimed...
You just lied.
What I claimed was there are many organizations that say that that kind of information is on the rise. Now, whether it has on my feed or not... Give me one example. I mean, right, and
literally
if you look at something
one.
like the Strategic Dialogue Institute in the UK, they will say that. So
look, people will say all sorts of nonsense. I'm literally asking for a single example, and you can't name one.
Right, and as I've already said, I don't use that feed. But
then how would you know that?
I don't think this is getting anywhere.
You literally said you experienced more hateful content, and then couldn't name a single example.
Right, and as I said,
that's absurd.
I haven't actually looked at that feed.
Then how would you know this hateful content?
Because I'm saying that's what I saw a few weeks ago. I can't give you an exact example. Let's move on. We only have a certain amount of time.
El limitar la libertad de expresión para proteger sentimientos crea un ambiente donde las ideas se reprimen, lo que va en contra del principio de una sociedad libre y abierta. El intercambio robusto de ideas es vital para la democracia y el progreso. ¿Y tú qué opinas? Comenta qué video te llamó más la atención. Me gusta leer lo que piensas. Comparte el video y dale like. Asimismo, si te gusta este tipo de contenido, suscríbete a mi canal. Tengo más videos similares que sé que te gustarán muchísimo. Muchas gracias. Hasta luego.